So why do we need to worry about confined spaces? Well, many organisations wouldn't even recognise what a confined space was. It's something like a drain or a tank, somewhere where people can get into, and due to things like lack of oxygen or toxic fumes or excessive temperature, they can get themselves into trouble. And for most organisations, they think, well, that's not us. But most organisations have drains, manholes, etc. leading to the public sewers. I have personally stood over a manhole 9 feet deep in which 3 people have just died. It was an ordinary organisation. They had a blocked drain. They did what many organisations would do. They called in a plumbing contractor. The contractor arrived with a van, 4 people on it. The first was only 17 years old. He went down into the manhole through a ladder. Poured acid into the blockage, which released hydrogen sulfide, the rotten eggs gas, which at high concentrations paralyses the sense of smell and then paralyses the respiratory centre of the brain, so you stop breathing virtually instantaneously. And the 17-year-old collapsed. The next guy looked down and thought, Bill's fallen over, went down in after him, collapsed. Third guy said Bill and Fred had fallen over, went down after them and collapsed. And the fourth one actually tried to enter the manhole, but couldn't physically do so because of the other people in it. When we got there to carry out the technical investigation, there was 1 dead and 2 on life support machines, which they switched off a week later. And that is a typical confined space accident, can happen in any organisation. Many people are unaware of these hazards and actually don't have the systems in place to control contractors, to inform staff, etc. Another example I had recently was a client that had briefed their staff on confined space hazards, but they hadn't really taken on the point. And some of their grounds maintenance staff were doing some work on the grounds, and they came across a manhole and opened it up and realised that underneath was a Second World War air raid shelter, which looked very interesting. It had a foot of water in the bottom of it, and several of them went into the air raid shelter, which had been sealed up for years. Now, fortunately, they got away with it, but it would have been quite easy to find that air raid shelter had been oxygen deficient, and 2 or 3 people had died as a result. So people in these sort of functions, in ground maintenance functions, in maintenance functions, need to understand what a confined space is, how dangerous it can be, and how to avoid it.